Hey lovies, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Aries Only, where I channel messages for Aries only. Today we're doing a reading to see what your guides want to say to you, what advice they currently have for you. So first let's get this card to see what they want to talk to you about. What your guides wants like to communicate to you right now, Aries. What Aries guides? Just get one card, please. Most like to communicate to them about today. What Aries guides? Just want to communicate with them today. Connect to heart paradox. Okay, one card, please. We have the Alchemist and Strength. All right, so I feel like what Spirit wants to talk about today is your ability to influence certain situations. With the Alchemist, this is similar to the Magician card. It's about power. It's about the personal power that we all have. And it's almost about how to manipulate certain things to work out, to at least appear like they're working out, to work for you, to start like going with the current instead of fighting against it is something that I'm getting with this Strength energy. I'm getting more so the holding back, having control over yourself, like that on like the actual Strength card in the tarot, like the traditional Rider-Waite, where she's sort of like taming down the lion, which is obviously a representation of that Leo energy, which a lot of time is about pride and the ego, and it's about like taking a more softer approach like with yourself. And this could obviously like kind of spread out and into the way you deal with other people as well. So I think that's what Spirit wants to talk about, because maybe you could be like spiraling, you could be doubting yourself. You could be like the kind of person that's almost like even like afraid to dream about things because it doesn't even seem realistic. You can't even like have a daydream about it, and you feel very stuck and like you're unable to manifest certain things for yourself. But I feel like with the Alchemist energy, when we talk about having power, it's never talking about having power over other people. It's about having power over yourself, and about not letting things or people have power over you, kind of taking that power back for yourself to have like dominion over your own being, your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own reactions to things. Okay, like, and I feel like we all have that power, but a lot of times we can fall prey to a sort of thinking that is detrimental to us feeling more like powerful and in control of our own lives. We can fall into an energy of worrying, of telling ourselves stories, like untrue stories, like assuming we know what's going to happen in the future, which maybe we have an inkling, we have a certain feeling about something, but we don't really know. It's thinking that we already know how like this is going to end, and telling ourselves a story that almost like makes things more difficult for ourselves. So this is about trying to like regain that control over ourselves. Okay, what else can we get? What else do your spirit guides want to talk about right now? Maybe I'll come back to these. Hold on. Oops, I just dropped a deck. Okay. Let me come back to this. Just like aesthetically. What do Aries spirit guides want to say to them right now? What do they want to say to Aries? What other guides want to communicate to Aries? like to communicate. Inner temple devotion. Tune into the portal of your heart. Okay. Soul family. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. And we have Brothers of the Rose. Sacred masculine, honor, protection, and support. And then we grab these two as well. Yeah, so I feel like with that inner temple, it's all about having that sense of sanctuary on the inside rather than needing to have things on the outside to provide you with a sense of security. I'm thinking of a temple, yeah, as like more of like a sanctuary, like kind of a feeling here, where it's like a place where you would run to feel safe or ask for things or like pray. But this is almost saying like you have more power to like change these things. It's like you're trying to give the power away. You're trying to give not the power, but almost like the like you possess the means to like make certain things happen, but you're just like you're not giving yourself credit to do that. You're not believing in yourself, so you're not even like attempting to do it. It's almost like you're stopping yourself before you start, kind of a thing. Okay, that's too many. Let's just get one at a time. Okay, we have Lion, temperament. Yeah, that Leo energy and armor, boundaries. Okay, Hammer, forge. Again, that sort of feeling of you possessing the tools you need to like get the job done here. But yeah, with this inner temple, again, feeling like that is inside of you, like cultivating and building a temple, almost like to worship yourself, almost to like give yourself that love and devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. What does my heart need? What can I give it? Like, what would feel good for me today? How can I make this day? Even if you have a bad day, there's nothing wrong with like acknowledging that, like being with your emotions, but at the same time, like we don't want to identify with certain emotions, like suffering. We don't want to like become a suffering person. We can feel pain and feel it and have a little pity party for ourselves for like the night or for a couple days or whatever it is. This is more like for situational things. Not like huge major life moments like grieving a loved one that has passed on or something like that. But this is more just like, you know, feeling down about certain things, insecurities getting triggered, feeling like no one's ever going to love me and things like that. But it's almost like notice when those feelings come, notice the things that you're thinking about. And with the temperament, it's almost like notice your attitude about it, your temperament, the way you're acting and the way you're carrying yourself in the world, the way you're moving through the world and interacting with other people, the way you're holding your head up high or not. Like I think of like a lion as like somebody, like not somebody, but an animal that like has a certain majesty and power about them. So it's about seeing that like divine and beautiful, all those divine and beautiful things about yourself. And it's almost like I'm getting a sense that maybe when it comes to boundaries, you could have it could go either way. Like it could just be out of balance in general. So like sometimes it could be like you're almost like too boundaried, like where you're like defensive and things like that. But sometimes it could be that they're like wide open and other areas where you're just kind of careless with your boundaries. It's with this soul family being here, I feel like this is saying like once you start really like nourishing and replenishing your own energy, nourishing, I would say, not even replenishing. I'm like I feel like it needs nourishment, and I feel like it needs to be plenished, not replenished, like if that makes sense. Like it needs to be plenished. That's not even, I don't think, a word, but I mean, does it have to be if replenished is a word? I don't know. but just really taking the time to understand that life is ever changing and that there isn't really ever going to be a time where there's only good things that happen. And I've been like watching a lot of videos on like stoicism and detachment and things like that. And I was watching one today where this girl was talking about the story of this guy who was like, I don't know, like a farmer in the olden days or something, and like his horse ran away and all the neighbors came around. They're like, oh my God, like that's bad, like, you know. And the farmer's just like, maybe. And then meanwhile the horse comes back and it brings another horse, and they're like, oh my God, like that's great luck, you know, like, wow, you got another horse. And he's like, maybe. Then it was like the horse kicked his son or something. The second horse that came back with the first horse, like, ended up kicking this man's son who was trying to like tame it. It was like an untamable, like, wild horse. And they're like, and so like the son was injured, and they're like, oh, that's bad. And the man was like, maybe, you know. And then they came trying to like draft young men for the war. And because this man's son was injured, he didn't have to go to war. And they're like, wow, now that's good, maybe. And I guess like the girl was saying like this could go on like indefinitely. I'll try to find that video and link it. If I remember. I don't even remember what her name was, or I would tell you right now. But it was really cool. And it was all about this idea of like detachment to like what's going on around you. Obviously like detachment to like, I feel like I've heard that being used in reference to relationships, but it's not just relationships, just to like your attitude towards life, and to things that are happening around you. Obviously, it doesn't mean that you're not emotionally invested in things, but you're not like emotionally attached to outcomes, and you're not like projecting your own expectations onto people and to things and to situations. You're more so just like not having such a strong opinion and just like allowing it to work out and trying to be like, maybe this will work out, maybe it won't, but then like something else will happen after that, and you know, maybe that'll work out. Like, it's almost just like being neutral and not having like this grand plan. It's almost like clearing a blank slate and allowing just like, it's like more like reading a book, like, and having it like the words appear as you go, and just like kind of like what's gonna happen next, like being engaged in the story, being interested in it, but not like when you're like reading I mean, sometimes that does happen when you're watching a movie or you're like reading a book, and it's like something really bad happens to a character, you're like, oh my God, like, but then it's like it works out for them in the end, or it doesn't, and it's just like, that's it, like that's life, kind of. So it's like there's nothing you can really do, just kind of try to like go with the flow of things. Like your own temperament can make such a difference. So okay, let's see what else we want to get tarot. All right, what does Aries need to know right now? What is your advice for Aries? What do you want to say to Aries right now about what's going on in their life right now? What's going on? Okay. We have the Hierophant. We have Death. We have the World and the Ace of Cups and the Emperor. Okay. Wow. It feels like kind of final to me. I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm going to clarify with these. Let me get one for the Hierophant. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me close my eyes and like do this right. Okay. Okay, maybe my eyes need to be open. For Death. Okay. For the World. Oh, okay. And the Ace of Cups. Let's get one more because it's a month out of the year. And for the Emperor. Okay. We have Crown. Honor and respect will come to you. Lily, spiritual love with Death. Caterpillar, things will not always be this way. A change is coming. We have October. We have the Ace of Cups and Bull. Weeping Willow, family sorrow. So I feel that with the Crown energy and the honor and the respect will come to you, maybe you could be feeling a little bit like people don't, you could almost like fantasize about a day where people will like look up to you or kind of like tell you like, oh, like I misjudged you, or I never really gave you the time of day, but I've like seen the error of my ways, whether this is like a romantic interest, like your peers, like your coworkers, you feel like you do a lot and nobody like appreciates it. I'm kind of getting a vibe like that here. Where maybe that's why these boundaries are like in place, because there's a lot of people trying to take from you. And like I was saying, like you could almost be in a mode where you're like, I don't like unapologetic. Let's say it like that, unapologetic. And I feel like there could have been a little bit of force with trying to gain the respect from certain people. It could be a little bit fiery, and I don't know. I'm almost getting a sense that maybe spirit wants you to also like humble yourself a little bit. I'm getting that vibe. To kind of check like the direction of where you want to go and not lose sight of like your goals and like what you want to become here with this caterpillar. I feel like you're somebody like with this whole like inner temple, tune into the portal of your heart. You are somebody that has a heart for spirit, a heart for even just like for humanity, for making the world a better place. A soulful kind of a person here. And I feel like even with the Hierophant, where it's like maybe your wires are getting a little bit crossed, and it's like normal. I feel it could be just getting to you that you never fit in, or that you get the respect that you feel you deserve, or that you never get treated in the way. It's like you have a bunch of failed relationships, but like you're looking for that spiritual love, like, and everything seems like a test or like a tough break or something like that. And I think that's where this alchemist energy comes into play, where it's like, is it preparing you? Is it teaching you something? Is it a lesson that you're not really learning? Is it like you're kind of caught up in a cycle where you're maybe accepting less than behavior and then wondering why you don't get respected? But it's maybe just like a miscommunication. With this whole like boundaries issue, I think spirit's really also wanting to point out, because remember how I said this was like the Magician, which is like a Mercury energy. So I feel like it's about like communicating with people, like being upfront about your boundaries, being not being afraid to have something end. And you have to understand too, like if somebody isn't meeting you in a place, if somebody isn't respecting you or meeting you in a place that you want to meet at, as far as your communication and the way you want to be treated and spoken to and things like that, you can not be afraid to like cut that off. Almost like if it's meant to be yours, it'll come back. Like if you're not getting treated in a way that doesn't feel right to you, it doesn't have to be harsh. Even with this temperament with the Lion, it's like you catch more flies with honey. Just be aware. And it says things will not always be this way. A change is coming. Let this be like the fate, like this be you ending this phase, you deciding that things will not always be this way. A change is coming because like I say so. Like trying to develop a mindset of like this or something better. You know what I mean? It just kind of takes the pressure off. Like either it'll work out with this person, or I'll get something better. Either I'll get this job or I'll get a better one. Either I'll get into this school or I'll get into a better one. It's just like reminding me of when, I used to be in rehab, and when I decided I wanted to stay, I was in South Florida. I had the choice between these two halfway houses I could go to. One was like in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, and one was in like Pompano Beach. And I chose the Fort Lauderdale one, and I was like, okay, that's my choice. And then everyone was like going to the other one. And I'm like, oh, like I'm not gonna be like with everybody. So then I like tried to change. I was like, oh, can I go to like the Pompano one actually? Like I told my like guidance counselor or whatever she was. And she was like, no, actually, like it got full, like blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. So I had to go to this Fort Lauderdale one. And, it's just funny because like I was always like a waitress in diners, and like when I got there, like I like remember asking the guy who was driving me there, I'm like, oh, are there any like diners around? He's like, oh my god, there's one like that's like 2 minutes away, like a 2-minute walk like from where you are. And have my car. I was like, oh my god. So I was like, wow, first of all, I felt like that was like meant to be. I also ended up meeting one of like my best friends that I've ever had, even though we're not friends anymore. And that relationship like gutted me when that friendship ended. Like I could just see that she was meant to be in my life. We were meant to go through certain things together. I met my husband at that job. Like I just clearly was like meant to be there, like now knowing what happened. So it's like things just like happen that way sometimes, where it's like you end up where you're supposed to end up, and things end for a reason because there's like something better. So just like have that mindset, like, okay, like if life's pulling me in this direction, it must be for a reason. Try to just be like, you know what, I trust the universe. Like, that's it. I remember, again, like I'm starting just another example, but even like I've been doing that when I've been waitressing at work lately. And tonight, this table came in, it was a 5 top, and the girl was like, oh, you have table 1. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then she's like, oh wait, actually you don't, because I guess my boss had said like she wanted like a different waitress to take that table. And at first I was kind of like offended. I was like, all right, like what, I can't take the table? And I was like, all right, whatever, like I trust the universe. I've been like telling myself that all the time, like I trust the universe. Like every time I don't get a table that I want. And then honestly, like it was crazy, because then like in the next rotation or whatever, the table that I got, like because the rotation got out of order, was this guy that tips $100. It was a table of 2 that tips $100. And I was just like, I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't have even gotten that guy if that didn't happen. I like thought about it. I'm like, that's so crazy. And I kind of felt bad for the other girl, because she didn't want to take that other table. They were like, but it was crazy the way it worked out. Not that she didn't want to take them, but anyway, I think she would have preferred the $100 guy. But, you know, it's just funny. I'm like, when you start trying to just like trust the universe, and that is what I think Spirit is saying, like, instead of like fighting against everything that happens, just like go with it and see where it takes you, see what happens. Even like sometimes if I'm like, I trust the universe, and it's like someone else gets that $100 guy, maybe they really like needed the money. Like, you know what I mean? Like the universe isn't just here for your own pleasure. You know what I mean? It's like, they got the whole world here. So like other people need to win sometimes too. So, you know, just like accept that and be like, okay, it wasn't my turn this day. It is what it is, kind of a vibe, you know? But yeah, and then we have here the Ace of Cups. Do not back down from opposition. Show strength and fortitude. I feel like in matters of your relationships and things like that, I'm honestly a little confused by this. I have to be honest with you. Let me get a clarifier with this. What is this saying? Let me look at the imagery on this. Okay. What are you trying to say with this? The King of Air. I think it's saying like, okay, I think it's saying like in your relationships and things like that, if you feel you've been disrespected, if you feel like someone isn't living up to your standards, again, be like the King of Air, the King of Swords, like knowledgeable, respected. Yeah. Like you decide who respects you by like how you like enforce your boundaries in a way. And it doesn't have to be this loud thing. Like this bull looks like they're about to like come charging. Ah! Like, no, you don't want to be a bull. You want to be the King of Swords. Like you want to just like, you know what? Like, if you don't like the way someone's talking to you, don't answer them. Like, you know, if you don't like the way they text you, don't text back. Like, if you don't like what they're saying to you, like, you don't have to, like, engage in the conversation. You don't really even have to say anything. I feel like the King of Air is someone that's, like, quiet, but they don't say too much. So, like, what they say, like, has a lot of, like, gravity and weight. Like, when they do finally, like, speak up, like, your ears are perked up because you're like, okay, like, I gotta watch myself with this person because, like, they don't, like, fuck around. Like, you know? I think, like, Spirit's encouraging you to take your respect in that manner. With the Weeping Willow and Family Sorrow, again, I'm gonna just get a little clarifier. 6 of Fire. Success, recognition, and self-esteem. I think it's also something like be careful what you wish for is kind of like a vibe that I'm getting here, because where it's almost like, or not even like be careful what you wish for, but almost like if you had all your success handed to you at one time, like you wouldn't be the emperor, you know, like you need to like kind of like get to certain levels in like certain increments of time that allow you to like, you know, kind of adjust to the new normal and, you know, build up your self-esteem, learn a little like moderation and self-control to like see how you feel in this new era of your life before like you ascend to the next one, like sort of like get your bearings and yeah, catch your balance here in one era before you move over to the next. I also feel like with this Weeping Willow, it's about, and this is all, like, I was also watching this other video too where it was talking about it's not about having control over your emotions, about having control over the way you react to your emotions. So it's like not about trying to like stifle them or anything like that, but it's about trying to just like, again, like with the suffering thing, we don't want to become like identifying like with like a sufferer, like as someone who's always like as a victim or whatever. Like, but a lot of people get caught up in like feeling sorry for themselves, which is, you know, sometimes it's like the only comfort that you have, and that's okay. But recognizing that being in that energy is not really changing things for you is a key part of moving past that. And maybe you have already moved past that and you're trying to, you know, and you feel like, well, I'm trying to, but like I keep getting really upset and it's not easy. You know, I have a lot of pain, and like, of course, but at least as far as it goes, like, instead of like lashing out at the people around you, maybe you will still have to process that pain for a while, depending on your trauma and your life and what has happened to you. Don't feel guilty about that for a second. But this is, I think, about having control of yourself with the Emperor and Aries energy. It's like the first house, the self. So it's not, it's just about like, I don't know, just not making yourself look a certain way to other people that maybe like are counting on your emotional overreaction. Does that make sense? Like, not like saying like, oh, don't show anyone your emotions. Like, if you want to like cry to your best friend or your mom or whoever you like, you know, unleash, you know, those emotions onto, like, please do that. But I think it's saying like, if there's like somebody who's like antagonizing you, like, don't give them that reaction that they're looking for. If somebody's trying to upset you, like, you know, don't give them the satisfaction. Doesn't mean you can't be upset, but, you know, try to like hold it together. And like it, so it's almost like it is okay to have that pride, but don't like let pride make your decisions for you. But it's okay to have pride in yourself and not want other people to view you as weak, and like let them know that they're getting to you, especially if they're trying to hurt you or antagonize you or something like that. So, okay, I think we could take this out of here. We'll leave him over here. He's kind of handsome. October, I mean, that could just resonate for like a time when, I don't know. What's October about? That's why I never usually keep them out, but awakening, pause, perspective, selflessness. Maybe they're saying like this is going to be sort of like a stagnant period where you're just going to be like, I don't know, like going through certain tests or like interactions with people that are going to sort of test your patience just in order to like get you emotionally balanced again or something like that. But okay, what advice for Aries? Notice who's happy for your happiness and appreciate the fuck out of them. With that soul family thing and that boundaries, it's like, yeah, like if somebody is trying to antagonize you, hurt you and things like that, they've got to go. Like, end the conversation, stop talking to them, don't engage with them, don't let them see that they're getting to you, don't give them the satisfaction, and if you can cut yourself off from them somehow, please do. Don't let anyone use your past to invalidate who you are today. You grew and you're not a hypocrite. So maybe that's something where you're trying to grow, you're trying to change. I feel like this just came through in a recent reading that I did, where it was like, someone would be trying to almost like act like, oh, like you're not really like changed, and use like your past against you or something like that. And it's just like, you know what, like I don't do that anymore. Like, and that's it. Just start and end the day with positive thoughts about yourself, even if you're mean in between. Try to like go through, like have like a little assessment with yourself at the end of the night, rehash the day and be like, you know what, like I did my best, like I kind of did good here, I could kind of work on this, and like let's leave it at that and like let it go. If you can do like a little cleanse with like a Epsom salt in the shower every night, that's something I do. Sage, whatever you can, those singing bowls, like anything to like cleanse your energy. Crystals, things like even just an actual shower. Like, I mean, I feel like the water is so cleansing and healing. If you envy someone, it's because they're reflecting everything you could be if you just believe in yourself. A lot about like just having to believe in yourself and realizing your own power here with the Alchemist, realizing that people that you're jealous over like are actually there to like inspire you and to show you that you can do those things as well. And taking it as that, or taking like seeing a bunch of happy couples as a sign that you're about to like be in that energy, like something like that is a good way to use something that's making you feel bad and alchemize it into something that's going to make you feel better about your situation and hopeful and excited about the future. When did it become weird and bad to care about people, to be silly and happy and free? Don't let anyone use even your present and the way you are to invalidate like your point or your feelings or things like that. You might be somebody that feels things very deeply or has certain sensitivities. Like, you don't need to apologize for that. Obviously, we don't want to make people uncomfortable or be inappropriate, if it's especially in like a workplace or something like that. But if you're somebody that has like sort of intense emotions, or you'll get upset about things and want to kind of hash it out with people. As long as it's like within reason, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. And people might act like, oh, your emotions aren't valid, or you're not valid. And I feel like there's something weird about the way you're acting, and it's like, okay, like I get it, you're just not my person. Okay, keep it moving. You don't even have to say anything. You could just kind of like distance yourself, you know, detach. I feel like detachment is a big theme here. Happiness is a valid goal. And then this says, sometimes people just don't have the capacity to emotionally understand or connect to you. And sometimes just accepting that and moving on is like the best thing that you can do. And be like, okay, we're just like not meant to like connect at this time. Like, you know, just don't get me. Like, and that's okay. They don't have to, you know. Anything else for Aries? If you think you are alone, you are not. We are beside you in all challenges that you face. Trust that outside sources will always be working with you to ensure the best outcome in every situation. We have your best interests at heart and we love you. Wow, I love that. So your guides are like, hey, we'll be your soul family until yours shows up, or in addition to the soul family that you already have. Resilience is one of the strongest qualities you have. It has gotten you through so many trials and tribulations in the past, and it will continue to do so. Lean on the inner tower of strength anytime that you need it. You've got this. I love that. Something that like I've learned how to do to kind of like salve the wound of like especially if I feel like left out, or I feel like I'm being targeted, or like ostracized from the group, or like even like being like made fun of, or like a target of like ridicule for the group, which is like, I mean, I've had a lot of that. People are mean sometimes, and they have to, you know, these people just have to feel better about themselves by like targeting somebody else. I know, like, especially me, because I work at a job where there's like a bunch of like younger girls and guys that are like teenagers that work on the bakery side of the restaurant I work at. So like I work with some kind of like not great people, and I know like I was like this one person's target for so many years, like 3 years or something, and finally it's over. But I used to always tell myself, you know what, I'm glad it's me they're targeting. This is just what reminded me of it with this resilience. Because I'm like, if they were doing this to one of the girls, like the young girls especially, like my heart would hurt. Like, I'm glad it's me. I can take it. I don't care. Like, I can like ignore this person, even though it did hurt my feelings. But I was like, you know, like something like that where you're like, you know, at least it's happening to me, and like I know I can handle it. Like, I don't want to inflict this on anybody else. I wouldn't want anybody else to go through this. Like, it's okay. And should it even be happening at all? No, but like you're like, you know what, I could take it. Like, hit me with your best shot, buddy. Like, do your worst. Like, I'm not scared. Like, I feel like you have that resilience, and that's why your spirit guides are like, oh my god, like take that resilience and all that strength and like channel it. Like, they want you to do that. Why am I getting this? We already got some of these. I don't know why I just started. Well, should I just get it because we are shuffling, I guess. Okay, open, say yes, expand through the extremes, and trust life. Yes, it's all about, like, I trust life. I trust the universe. Like, you know what? I'm trusting the universe. Like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm open to it. Yes. Like, have, like, a little mantra like that. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. So it's like, this is, again, your spirit guides. If you think you're alone, we're not. They're like, we're all here. We're watching. We're, like, kind of pulling some strings. We're facilitating things in our own way. Okay, and then we have plant yourself here, integration, embodiment, and grounded action. So I feel like that's more so about like, be like grounded in your own center here, you know, like again with that whole temple idea, like tune into the temple of your own heart, build that sanctuary in that temple inside of you, and give yourself that love, nourish yourself, like plant yourself. It's saying like nourish, like let yourself grow, and like let yourself be like nourished like fully by your own self. And this takes time and practice to do, to live this way, but like let yourself be nourished only by your own self, so that way if somebody else like comes in, you're like, oh hey, like I'm good, like I'm good on my own, living my life. Like, I would love, you know, you're doing that too. That's really cool. You could kind of like enrich and enhance each other's lives. I like that. But like if they're not bringing that to the table, like that's okay. Like, I'm okay. Like, I got this. Be the King of Swords and just distance yourself. Okay, I get it. Don't answer their last text. Who cares? You know, you don't need them. So okay guys, like I know you got this. Like, I know that you're just gonna like alchemize everything and start like living your best life, and continue to live your best life, because I'm sure you already are. Maybe there's just some bumps in the road that have been like really getting to you lately. So like your spirit guide just wanted to like come in and be like, hey, like, by the way, like you're doing amazing, and we love you. This says it right here. It says we love you. So you saw it come flying out. They wanted to tell you that for sure. So we're going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one, okay? Bye.